Saint Peter is said to have died between AD 64 and 68. He was also known as Peter the Apostle, Simon Peter, Simeon, Simon. He was one of the 12 apostles of Jesus Christ and one of the first leaders of the early Christian church. He appears repeatedly and prominently in all 4 New Testament Gospels as well as the Acts of the Apostles. Peter went first to Antioch where he founded a church, then traveled to and preached at a number of other places in Asia Minor and Greece, and finally arrived in Rome sometime late in 42 or early 43. There, as Jerome tells us, he held the sacerdotal chair for 25 years until the last, that is the 14th year, of the Emperor Nero. According to Christian tradition, Peter was crucified in Rome under Emperor Nero. The ancient Christian churches all venerate Peter as a major saint and as the founder of the Church of Antioch and the Church of Rome, but they differ in their attitudes regarding the authority of his successors. According to Catholic teaching, Jesus promised Peter a special position in the church. The Gospel of John, Jesus hints at the death by which Peter would glorify God, saying, "When you are old you will stretch out your hands, and another will dress you and carry you where you do not want to go." Early church tradition says that Peter died by crucifixion, with arms outstretched, at the time of the Great Fire of Rome in the year 64. Saint Peter was crucified upside down because he felt unworthy to die in the same manner as Jesus Christ. This probably took place 3 months after the disastrous fire that destroyed Rome, for which the Emperor Nero wished to blame the Christians. Catholic tradition holds that Peter's inverted crucifixion occurred in the gardens of Nero, with the burial in St. Peter's tomb nearby. Peter was crucified in Rome and was buried at a place called Vatican. Archaeology has confirmed that the Church of St. Peter was built above and to commemorate the place of his burial. The history of the St. Peter's Basilica begins in the 4th century when the Emperor Constantine decides to build a basilica where the apostle had been buried. In 329 the construction of the basilica was completed. The church was used for the celebration of the cult, as a covered cemetery and as a funeral banquet room. During the High Middle Ages it was the main pilgrimage site in the West. The archaeological excavations carried out under the present basilica, the descriptions, drawings, and ancient paintings give us an idea of what the First Vatican Basilica was like. St. Peter's Basilica is the world's largest religious building, one of the holiest Catholic structures in the world, and the center of the independent city-state that is Vatican City. A basilica is simply a church that has been granted special privileges by the Pope due to its historical, cultural, and/or architectural significance. St. Peter's Basilica was built over the tomb of St. Peter the Apostle, hence its name. Around this area are the tombs of other Christians, many of them early popes. Some of the tombs are arranged in a semicircle around the central tomb of St. Peter, a sign of the importance of that tomb. It is estimated that there are as many as 91 popes buried in the necropolis, along with other important people. Beneath the floor of St. Peter's Basilica lies a labyrinth of chapels, tombs, and crypts known as the Vatican Grottos. This underground complex is accessible via a staircase near the sacristy and is open to the public. It is home to the tombs of many popes, including St. Peter himself, who is said to be buried beneath the main altar. Other notable tombs include those of Pope Pius XII and Pope John Paul II. In 1506 Julius II begins the construction of a new basilica replacing the existing one, commissioning to the architect Donato Bramante. Bramante proposes a plant in Greek cross, for equal arms, like the Byzantine churches of 9th century. When Bramante passed away in 1514, the works passed to Raphael Sanzio and several proposals were discussed until 1521. Raphael died in 1520 and construction continues with Antonio da San Gallo the Younger, who in 1538 concretizes his project for the basilica. In 1546, at the death of Antonio da San Gallo, the architect named was Michelangelo Buonarroti, who will give the definitive shape to the design, simplifying the plant by eliminating the sacristies with towers at the corners of the square designed by Bramante. This transformed the outer limits of the area into a continuous surrounding wall, giving unity and coherence to the volume of the building. Michelangelo reinforced the structure since the axis of his idea was the erection of an imposing canted dome, on an important drum, that would raise much more than the original proposal of Bramante. Its construction was completed 24 years after his death by Domingo Fontana and Jacopo della Porta. The latter was in charge of concluding the project of Michelangelo, and when dying in 1602 was only to erect the facade and design the square. Pope Paul V decided to extend the church to the front with the architect Carlo Maderno, transforming the plant of Greek cross by Bramante in a plant in Latin cross, traditional of the churches of the West. The St. Peter's Basilica is one of the largest buildings in the world and is the largest of the papal basilicas. At the moment, the St. Peter's Basilica is a building that measures 218 meters of length and 136 meters of height including its dome. It has an area of 23,000 square meters. Did you know that 1 million cubic meters of soil had to be removed to complete the excavation necessary for the construction of St. Peter's Basilica? This basilica has been considered as an architectural work of great importance by the magnitude of its facade and by the quality of its work. Annually receives people of diverse countries of the world who come to its interior to admire the best sculptures of the times and appreciate a work that has had centuries of construction. If you like my videos, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel.